Well, it's Gonzalo from Cartelera in Spain. It's so nice to meet you, man. How are you?
Hola, how are you?
Hi, thank you. Hola. Well, let's go. This has to be so fast, but my first question is about Roy because in season one, he has to accept who he is, how his life is changing, and everything. Season two, he has such a better life. Everything goes great, but we is cliffhanger. So, what are we going to find in the new life of Roy in season three?
I think the thing with Roy is you're seeing a man who has not expressed his emotions for all of his life. Season one, then he falls in love, and the cracks happen, and all these feelings come out, and that's very good for a bit. But with that comes a man unmoored who doesn't know how to cope with all these feelings, and kind of reveals that perhaps he doesn't think he deserves good things, and so I think it's kind of 2 steps forward, 3 steps back kind of thing, and he is a man trying to understand and come to terms with who he actually is, I think, rather than the idea of him.
Oh, I like that answer. Okay,
Thanks.
nice.
Me too. It's the first time I said it. I was like, well, that makes sense.
No, it actually makes a lot of sense. Uh, Roy is one of the fan favorites. You know it. It's my personal favorite. Not only,
Thanks,
but
man.
probably one of my favorite fictional characters in general. You even won the Emmy, so congratulations for that. Did you expect all this recognition for you and for the character when you first started?
No, I didn't expect anyone to watch the show, so I didn't. And I also, no, I did not expect any of this. I didn't. I felt, what I was doing with Roy. I had no idea if it would worked. I think I was very nervous before the show came out, thinking, what if this is terrible? What if I'm really embarrassing in this? I knew everyone else was amazing, but I had no idea if Roy would work, so I expected none of this.
Okay. Well, now I want to ask you because this you are also a writer of the show, and this is a show that even if you watch some of the most dramatic scenes, you always feel good. Your heart it warms your heart so much. So how do you manage to do it?
Oh man, I think it all comes from intention, I suppose. I think the show is quite dark, and I think it's more complicated than perhaps it might look if you just look at the posters, you know what I mean? But I think it all comes from a place of love, and we are all invested in it. I think everyone that writes on it and acts in it and makes it loves it as much as I hope people do. So it sounds so shit, but the truth is because we really care. You know what I mean? We really care. That's why.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Is this the end of Ted Lasso, or will you come back?
I believe that is a question for Apple. I would come back if you
Okay.
or Apple ask, would I do more? I would do more.
Okay, amazing. Well, I'm also really excited to watch you in another character, which is Hercules in Marvel. How much does he have in common with Roy? Because I mean, if he can generate half the this feeling of scariness,
Well, they
it will be
both
amazing.
have. All I can say is they both have hairy chests, and that's something I'm very method about in
Okay.
both performances. Yeah.
So now that's a wrap. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. It was so nice talking to you.
Um, well, my first question is about Sam because he had a lot of protagonists during season two.
Yeah.
So, what can we expect now from him? How is his development going to be?
I think we can expect more of the same. We're going down the same route of him, you know, still trying to find home in the UK and find love and find his voice, and so yeah, like he's growing more into an adult, into a more mature version of himself in season 3, along the same lines of what we saw in season 2. But he's also being challenged in a different way in this season. A lot of season 2, like he makes some tough decisions to, you know, boycott the Dubai Air and you know, say no to Edwin Akufu's team in Morocco, and you know, like some of those decisions start to come back. We start to see some of the ramifications of the tougher decisions that Sam's made. So yeah, we get to see him sometimes at his highest and also a bit at his lowest and most challenged in season 3.
Nice. Well, now I want to ask you about the show in general, because Ted Lasso talks a lot about very important things like mental health, racism, the construction of masculinities, other things I'm not going to explain now because of the spoilers. But I think these are not things that in football, especially, are people are very concerned about. So, do you think that the show is ahead of society in general and football in particular?
Whether the show is ahead, I would definitely say the show is at a point now where it can spark some new conversations around what masculinity looks like, what, you know, being a leader looks like, how to get the best out of people. We're at a point now where we can speak to some of the xenophobia that we see in football and some of the barriers that we see. Like it feels like a very divided sport sometimes, and I think Ted Lasso is at a point where it can spark the conversations about how to unite us more. You know.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Well, this show is also so heartwarming, even if the most dramatic or sad scenes. So how can it still be possible to do it? Because I mean, it's season 3, and still every episode you see, your heart is so like, wow.
Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff comes down to what the show is about. You know, the themes of the show. It's about you know, seeing the good in people, and it's about forgiveness and making mistakes, and ultimately it's about family. And I think when you hone in on that, like it's hard to not feel like your heart's like filled by that, because these are like universal themes that everybody can identify with. So yeah, you know, we go down the rabbit hole and we deal with some of the tougher subject matters, but then we can also like make our audience laugh and make them feel warm and fuzzy inside as well. So yeah, we managed to balance both in a really nice way.
Yeah, great. Well, again, Sam is one of the most important characters in the team, especially season 2. So, which are the new challenges for Richmond?
The new challenges for Richmond. Well, we've been promoted again, so we're going back into the highest division in English football, and that's, yeah, it's tough. Like there's going to be a lot of doubts, especially if you're a team that's just been relegated. Statistically speaking, those teams usually go straight back down, and so we're at a point where people don't really believe in the AFC Richmond team. And yeah, that's a massive challenge to deal with. Like when the world feels like you're not capable of something you think your team is capable of, how do you fight through that adversity and try and rise out on top with your family around you?
Okay. They are telling me that it's a wrap. So thank you very much, man, and congratulations.
Thank you so much for the time. It was a really dope interview.
Con pisos quiero un montón.
A la de 3, 1, 2, 3.
¡Con pisos quiero un montón! ¡Rismo!